Hey everyone, it's the Mad Queens, and I think we're live. Are we? Can anyone see us?
I do believe we are.
I can't see us on the tab, so I don't know.
Yeah, we're live. It's running.
Okay, so that was awkward. Anyway, thanks for joining us. If there's even anyone still out there. Oh, I see Sam. Hi, Peter. Thanks, guys, for coming. We are going to be doing a little conversation about WEX. A few years ago, I started this series called the Grand Northern Ambition series. And my girls, because they're so supportive, they've just been all up in it with me. And it's been a few years. I never got all the videos out, but there's been something bugging me about WEX. And I did do a video about the whole Ironborn situation and what I think is happening in the North. But the video sort of kind of cuts off before I get to part 4, which would include the Stannis part. And so I wanted to have a discussion today about my favorite part of the video because I want people to know about this, and I just don't understand why people do not talk about Wex and his obvious lying. He's a liar. And since he's lying, Wyman Manderly is lying, and we have proof of it. So we can just get right into it. Hi, everybody in the chat. I see you. Hi. Also,
Be so excited that she didn't even say hi to everybody, introduce. So she like, let's get right into it.
See, see what I'm talking about? It be your own family. It be your own family.
You gotta get it right.
First one, be your own family.
I still love her though.
They already know who we are. Let's just jump into it.
Right, like I don't even know need to say my name. Hi, I'm a random black girl on the screen. Let's just talk about books. Like, okay, so let's just go around the screen. Got my girl Beauty Queen here. You want to do your intro? Got an intro? She's shaking.
I need some water. Oh no. Yeah, take sip.
That's not how we need to start this stream. I'm tea baby. I'm gonna just say that while she swigs.
Hi everybody, what's good?
Hey, what's going on, folks? Thank you for coming to join us. We about to go to school. Professor Diligence. Let it go.
Like host. I know it's like really bad to just do this in the middle of the show, but I don't care because I hate it. Can someone else please host? I hate being in control of these things.
Okay, well, either way it starts, though, you still have to go first because you need to give the audience a briefing of what's going down with Rex. So give us that summarization so we know.
Let's go ahead and share. I'm going to share my screen, guys, so you can see. I have a little slide here. Hopefully it shows up and it's not all weird. Oh, okay. It's telling me mean things. Nope, just this. So I don't really know how to share it. Anyway, just go to my channel, and it's a song with Ice and Fire Theories, Ironborn, Endgame, GNA Part 3. And so I want to start off with talking about the dopeness of Wex Pike. If you guys don't remember who Wex Pike is Theon Squire. He was hanging out over on those salty, rocky islands, right? And because he's a Botley and the youngest and actually the only son of one of those Botleys, then he finds it to be an honor to be Theon Squire. You got to remember, as much of a dick as Theon is, he's still the Prince of the Iron Island, so being his squire is still kind of a big deal. Go figure. Throughout the story, we find out that Wex, when we meet him, is about 12 years old, and not only that, he's super freaking smart. I mean, super smart. First time we see this boy, he is straight up getting grown men and giving them the business at dice. Now, I don't expect everybody to be hood. I don't expect everybody to know that somebody that was locked up. But dice, it's all mathematics, y'all. This is probability and statistics. And he is 12 years old, taking down grown men, just collecting money throughout the tavern like, ha-cha, get him, ha-cha-cha, just get him. Like Theon literally has to pull him up, like, stop stealing these people's money. Like, what is wrong with you? You can't do this. But he's dicing and he's winning. He's 12 years old. So just keep that in mind, because his description is of someone who cannot read and cannot write. However, as the only son of a man who runs a port city, he'd literally be useless to his father if he couldn't read and write, right? And now he's in a tavern doing advanced math in his head. So clearly that's a lie, but we don't have to go there. What I really want to talk about is the connection between Wex Pike and Lord Manderly and what's going on there. When we see Wex and Manderly together, they tell us a story that does not line up to what we see on the page at Winterfell when Bran, Rickon, Osha, and the crew come up out of the crypt. When they walk around and they're looking at the damage that happened at Winterfell, some things just do not match up. So I guess my first question to the ladies and to everybody out there, do you think that Wyman Manderly and Wex Pike are lying, one or the other, or both? Do you think that something fishy is there? And I guess we'll go through what the fishiness is.
I think there's definitely something fishy there because, like we were saying earlier, if these little boys, escaped, ended up going their separate ways, and somehow a wildling that has no notion in her mind at all about the lay of the land south of the wall is going to take this little lordling across the continent and make her way to Skagos. With what money and supplies, and how's a big ass dire wolf walking around and nobody sees it? Because there's not a whole lot of deep concentrated woods in the north. All the path that they would have to take, if I'm thinking correctly, there's not a whole lot of cover there. It's a lot of open fields in between people's lands.
Can you share your screen? Can you do it?
I think I can. Which map are we looking for? Just a general map of Westeros?
Yeah, or a map of the north so that we can or you can pull up the video and make the video big and we can just go by, because it has the it should have a slide with all that on it.
Okay. Which one was it? Do you remember the name?
DNA Part 3. Song of Ice and Fire Theories, Ironborn Endgame. That's it. Ironborn Endgame.
Okay.
That was your last video that you did, right?
Probably.
Yeah, so it should be like the first video you see.
You said Part 3, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ironborn Endgame.
Yeah, it's best to go to the section where it was the map of the North, because that's basically where we're trying to figure out the route that he could have possibly taken.
If you go 4-7.
Yeah, I'm almost there.
Over, yeah.
All right, I'm going to pause that, make that screen bigger, and then
And further in the video it does have the Manderly, that excerpt.
Can y'all see that at all?
I can't. Can you guys see anything?
Once again, I'm special as shit because I'm saying nope. And
I know what I did. I think I know what I did. You might have to highlight my other screen, B. It's not letting me do it.
Highlight your other screen? How do I do
like it? When like what? Where you know how they have us lined up backstage? There you go.
Hey now, learning new things.
And also, if you click on that comment that you still have highlighted, that'll go away so we can see the full map.
Oh. Finding. I promise I'm not an old lady, y'all. I've never done streaming. I promise I'm not an old. But okay, so let's talk about it. Here's some things that stick out that are really strange. One, in the event that, should we go over Manderly's story or Wex's story with Manderly, or is everybody pretty familiar with that?
No, I think you should. Tell us the stories, everything. Sum it up for me.
Yep.
Okay. So it might be easier to like do y'all remember Roy Dotrice? It might be easier to let Roy Dotrice like explain it.
You run the risk of copyright playing that though.
Oh, they get me.
Yeah, they're real picky on it now.
Yeah.
Plus, I think it would be better if you summarize it, because that way you'll get the points you want to come across.
All right.
Yeah. So, just go for it, girl.
When we see Robert Glover and Davos, Wex, and Wyman Manderly together in the Wolf's Den, right? And they're chopping it up. Wyman says to Davos, and poor Davos, just bless his heart, he's so slow. Wyman was like, so Davos, tell me, what do you know about this whole situation with the bastard of Bolton? And Davos was like, sure, I'm not suspicious of anyone. Let me tell you everything I know. Here it goes. Got a story. And so Wyman was like, that's great, but that's not the truth. We know what's really going on. And we're getting this information from this little boy here. His name is Wex. Right? And so Wex is telling them this whole story without talking, mind you. So remember, Wyman somehow was able to extrapolate all of this information from a few games of Pictionary and charades with a mute preteen. Just want to put that out there. So supposedly he's able to get all this information from a mute preteen through Pictionary and charades. And he's told that Wex stayed up in a tree for a long time, and he slept in the branches, and he didn't want to go down until he heard voices, and these were the voices of the dead, and there were 6 voices, right? And that he didn't linger long, and he followed the woman and the boy, and that's how we know that Rickon is in Skagos. But there's a few things about his story that really don't make any sense. One of the biggest things that doesn't make sense is the fact that he's saying that there were 6 people, 6 voices that he heard. He also tells Wyman, and Wyman relays this to Davos, that there were Ramsay Bolton, there were Bolton men going through the Wolfswood and burning everything. So they killed everybody that they found in the Wolfswood and burnt the whole of Winterfell, which we find out in the next chapter is not to be true. So that I can stop talking and feel like I'm on the stream by myself, I'm going to quit now. And hopefully that was enough of a recap and you guys can help discuss it.
All right. So, and that again is a nice quick summary of what we were discussing earlier. Let me see if I can fast forward on the map and see what other part it goes to. Yeah, that just highlights the Serwins. But for where exactly does Wex say is their point of origin? Like where did he say they left from? After Winterfell, he followed them. Where did they go after Winterfell? You're muted, B.
She doing the shit I'm doing.
Oh my gosh, I'm like talking. Oh man. According to Wex, according to Wyman Manderly and Wex, he just followed them. He followed them and somehow knows that they went to Skagos. He saw it. He followed them. He was like, oh, look. And somehow they didn't find him, and the direwolf did not smell him, and Osha, who was a wildling and a tracker, did not notice that she was being followed either.
On open fields. Mostly open fields, because the woods that are in the north are pretty much clustered in 1 or 2 different places. There's not a whole lot of coverage the way that Osha and Rickon would have had to walk to get to the ship. And then again, how did Wex know where whatever ship he saw them get on was going to be going?
And where would he have gone? There's only one port that's close enough to Winterfell for you to be walking to like that anyway. Well, really, nothing is really that close, but at least you can get to White Harbor, and it's a large enough city and a port. Where else did they go? They went up to Umber territory. Where'd they go?
Exactly. It doesn't make sense. There's not a whole lot of coastal keeps along that shore outside of White Harbor, unless I'm mistaken. So if Manderly was really searching for him hard like that, everyone in the north knows these children have huge ass direwolves. How would Rickon and Osha and Shaggy Dog been able to get to any part of that harbor without being noticed?
Yeah. Huge ass dog, wildling, baby.
Right, Manderly wouldn't be looking for them if that's the route they would have taken, and that's the only route they could have taken to catch a boat. And then again, where's the money? Who are you going to pay to go to the island where everybody believes they're all cannibals? Nobody wants to go there willingly.
No.
Unless they're, pirates, I guess.
But if you did know you had a Stark and you were trying to get him out of there because of everything that's going on, you would probably take that risk, though. But it's confusing because, once again, the Umbers, weren't they fighting because they kept having wildlings come into their port and stuff? And so that was a big issue for them or something like that?
Rowan Umber was stolen. That's their whole thing that's the whole Umber's ire with the wildlings. Yeah, the wildlings come in and they always go over the wall and they'll steal stuff or whatever. But they didn't steal. One day they wilded out and they took Rowan Umber too. They took other women and Rowan Umber. So that's their
right. So I would think it would be hard to find anything going in that direction because they're trying to stop people from coming in their direction. And then once again, you have the idea that there's a huge dire wolf. So someone had to see it. Even if you don't recognize, Star's kid, you seeing a big dire wolf would be in plain, everyone would see that. So it's I would think that they possibly could have went there because I don't see them going so far down to where the Manderleys are. I can't possibly see them getting that far without being captured by someone or seen. Because, the North is basically in a war going on right now. So that's the only thing that had got me kind of confused, what exactly is going on? Because one is okay, it makes sense for them to go from where the Umbers are to get to Skagos, but then again, it doesn't make sense because I can't see a boat going to Skagos because they have that issue with each other. But then again, I can't see a wildling, a Stark, and a direwolf all going down towards the Manderly without someone spotting them. So unless someone's hiding them and they're I don't know. That's the only way I could think is that people are hiding him in one castle and shipping them to a next and maybe possibly getting them to Skagos that way. I don't know. And then also I have to think that Wex doesn't have any loyalty to the North, right?
Well,
he's from the Islands, right?
Yes,
Go ahead.
No. Because Wex's loyalty, and this is from another part of the video that we weren't talking about, but Wex's loyalty is to Theon. And Theon, until very recently in the rest of the book, was thought to be dead by the rest of the Ironborn. Once you get past Winterfell being sacked, Wex disappears off page for an entire book, right? Theon goes through all his flaying and whatnot. Asha gets a little piece of him, the whole 9. So they're thinking that he's not alive. What happens if Wex is able to prove that Theon is alive? The North can give Wex back Theon. All Wex needs is a bargaining chip. And I believe that the Stark boys are that bargaining chip. I can show you how it, I can show you, but it's literally the whole video. And I didn't want to go through the whole whatever.
All right. So just to bring into a bit better perspective of what we're talking about, right here where my mouse is flashing is Winterfell. To get to White Harbor, they'd have to go all the way down here. Again, no woods cover. And get here, and no one would see them. They would literally be in the vicinity of Wyman Manderly. But then no one would have noticed, and they would have gotten on a boat with a huge-ass, dangerous, overgrown wolf for free. Because there's nothing that Osha has or that Rickon had that they've been able to trade. And if they were trying to really keep safe, why wouldn't you just say, hey, I need to speak to your lord? And then Manderly comes out and treats with them and more than likely gives them the safe harbor that they need to be hidden. Just like he hid Davos, he could have put them in the wolves' den or any other place where only him and his most trusted people would know that they were. So I don't know. Beauty Queen, what are your thoughts on the situation at hand?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Having technical difficulties. Can y'all hear me?
yes. I can hear you. Chat, can y'all hear her?
Hello?
I don't know. I'm always
I can hear you. It's like it's staticky though. I'm not sure who that is though.
maybe I'm.
Yeah, there was static for a bit, Monero, but we could hear you for a second. But it looks like you might be frozen now.
Such a pretty woman. And she's probably going to tell us some good history lessons too, y'all.
No, she'll be back. She'll just reboot and jump back in.
We'll wait for her to come back. But I'm glad that we reached the point that we reached, and you guys can see. You can see the map.
Right. And sorry, go ahead, B.
No, go ahead.
So White Harbor is here. So to get to Skagos, they'd have to go all the way around here through the Three Sisters, past Old Castle, past Widow's Watch, all the way up here to get to the island of Skagos. And it just doesn't make sense in my mind anyway that they would go to Skagos, because what would Rickon know about Skagos? What would Osha know about Skagos?
See, I could see them going to Skagos. My whole thing is that the whole time that we're reading the book, right? Like not the whole time, but for a significant portion of the time that we're reading the book, the Ironborn just freaking disappear. It's like they have a story and then all of a sudden they're nowhere, and then all of a sudden they have Torrhen Square and we don't know what is going on. And then out of nowhere, Wex is with Wyman Manderly and freaking Rickon is on Skagos. And we know he legit is on Skagos because he's seeing unicorns. So he's there. But how did he get there? And how the hell did Wex, how was he able to track him like that right behind him in open field and all that, and no one noticed?
Yeah, there's no way Shaggy Dog would not have noticed. Those direwolves are far too smart to miss anything like being followed like that.
I don't think so with Osha, but I don't know. I don't want to derail. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. We're building this all on your thoughts. It's looking at the map. It's just absurd. It would be dangerous, honestly, going by sea, because those waters are not safe at all to travel on. Like, the only thing I could think of is somehow maybe Osha stole a boat from someone in the middle of the night. Maybe from Widow's Watch. I don't know.
Didn't Bran had like a vision that he saw Shaggy Dog at Skagos?
Yeah, he was on Skagos. Shaggy was eating a unicorn, so he's definitely on Skagos. That's not the lie.
Well, no, technically I'm saying he didn't see his brother there. He saw his wolf there. There is a possibility they got separated, right?
But so somehow the wolf ends up on Skagos? Who the hell was able to get Shaggy Dog on a boat by itself, bro?
Yeah, Shaggy Dog's not going to just jump into the ocean and think, I want to go swim to Skagos.
I just cannot see how. I don't know how he got on that fucking island, to be honest with y'all, because it really does not make sense at all.
It doesn't.
All right, well, now this isn't the point of this, right? Like, this isn't the lie.
Yeah, true enough. Yes.
Tell me the lie again, because look, my head's everywhere else. Tell me the lie one more time for me.
Okay, so the lie is that, the lie is the story that they told Davos. Now, I can't tell you everything that's true in it, but I can tell you so far what's a lie. Wex was not at Winterfell when it burned, y'all. Wex left. After Lewin got stabbed, Wex took a horse and left. He left and he ran to Torrhen Square and then he came back. So he didn't see Osha. He didn't see Rickon. He didn't see anybody. And go ahead.
No, that was going to say the whole thing is baffling.
The whole thing is a lie, and the whole thing is, well, why?
Why would he think to go to Wyman Manderly?
He went to Wyman Manderly because he knows where the Starks are, because he tracked them, and he knows that Theon is still alive, and he wants Theon.
And he can't technically, that would be the only trusted, I think, ally he would be able to go to, because he wouldn't be able to go to the Boltons. He wouldn't really be able to go to the Umbers. It would have to be someone who he thinks wouldn't cause harm to Theon. And if he was there when they were sacking it, he would know that the Boltons were involved somehow, right?
He would know that the Boltons were involved, but even more so, y'all, a 12-year-old boy. Y'all ever got lost in Walmart or in the mall when y'all was little?
No.
My mama told me to stay my ass right beside, and that's what the fuck I did.
Exactly.
I've gotten lost before. And I mean, have you ever seen lost kids before?
Yeah.
Do lost kids tend to try to go, especially, I don't know, in a foreign store, they typically look for an authority figure. But do you think that a lost kid would just walk around a foreign country by themselves versus going back to where they know their people are? If you know your people are less than a half a day's ride away from you, wouldn't you go there?
Were there Ironborn at White Harbor?
No, there were Ironborn at Torrhen Square, y'all, half a day's ride away. So when Roger Patel and them came to take back Winterfell, the Ironborn took Torrhen Square. Wex ran from Winterfell to Torrhen Square, and they came back that next day. That's why their story matches up with what was left over versus what was actually there. And I can go through what those things are if y'all are interested.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So Wex knows that there are, at the point that he is at Winterfell and the point that Winterfell gets sacked, he knows that there are Ironborn both at Moat Cailin, well, 3 places, Moat Cailin, the Stony Shore, and Deepwood Motte. Of those 3 places, the Stony Shore is the closest. He's also well aware that at some point he's going to have to get the hell out of Winterfell with or without Theon, because Theon is screwing up so bad. So what would a scared little boy try to do if something went down? I would think that he would try his best to get back to the Stony Shore. And
Monero is backstage if you could bring her on.
Yes.
And then continue, por favor.
Hold on now, come in. No, how come you're not here for me to click you? Y'all can see her back there?
No,
she
put she was backstage.
Oh, okay, yeah. Woo, child. Yeah, this is all a big mystery. There's a lot of lying going on right now. Because it makes sense. But then when you also think about it, these ain't normal 12-year-olds in this story. Like, Danny's like moving dragons and taking over shit. So even though I get what you're saying, you also made it a point to say that he was really smart. So I think he would think of what would be his, I guess, best option to help Theon, but also himself. I don't know. It just
that's the thing. At the point that which Wex runs, all Wex knows is that Winterfell has been burnt. He doesn't know whether or not Theon is alive or not. Not yet.
It would make sense. It would make sense for him to go to Torrhen, because wasn't that where the Ironborn was?
That's where the Ironborn was. And also remember, when he came with Theon, he came through the Stony Shore. So you've never been to this country before, right? But this one time, the one place that you know of for sure is back from where you came. Additionally, throughout that time that Theon is holding on to Winterfell, Asha literally has men coming from Deepwood Mott and going to Cleftjaw at Torrhen Square. And we know that because of the math. I think Asha starts off with 1,000 or so men or something like that. And then by the time that what's his face, that Stannis the Manus is able, well, really Asha, well, not Asha, the bear girl, but by the time Stannis is able to take over Deepwood Mott, she only has about 200 people there. So about 800 left Asha, and they had to go somewhere because all her ships are still there. And we know that because Alysanne burnt them. So 800 men disappeared from Deepwood Mott and went where?
That just put a whole nother 10 damn layers into this rabbit hole.
Now remind me about Deepwood Mott. Wasn't that the area where they tried to assassinate Roose and they had a decoy, or am I mixing up areas?
Mixing it up. That's the Towers. The children tried to assassinate Roose at Moat Cailin.
Yeah.
Moat Cailin. But we talking about what?
We are talking about Deepwood Mott.
Deepwood Mott. Okay.
All right, hold on. Before we move forward on that, Monero, are you back up, Ma? I see movement.
Moving.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry about that. My internet is messed up.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
So I kind of missed a good part of it. So what is it am I commenting on? Because I missed a good part of the conversation.
Right now, basically, how Wex was able to, go back. He left Winterfell, then went to Torrhen Square, then at some point in time followed Osha and Rickon to whatever boat they had waiting, I guess. And he knew that they were going to Skagos.
Now I can prove that he was there, that he wasn't there when Winterfell got sacked later after everybody weighs in, but just Winterfell.
Well, I've always kind of questioned how it was. Well, I always wondered, how was it that Wes got picked up by Wyman Manderly? And I'm really bad at theories, but my best guess was when he saw, if I'm going by what based on the conversation between Wyman Manderly, Davos, and Robert, if we go by what that story says, that he was hiding himself in the trees and saw when they came out of the crypts. If he was going to he made the choice to follow Shaggy Dog and Osha and Rickon because the other group were going further north. And so he probably thought it would have been best for him to stay on their route because they were still staying with the northern lands. And if they're cutting across, I have a strange feeling that they had to have crossed somewhere around the Hornwood lands, because if they weren't in, how else would Wex would have ended up in White Harbor if they didn't cut across Hornwood lands? Because when you listen to Manderly talk to Davos,
you two do not want my lady to be great.
Right.
Like, I was like, I don't want she about to school.
Right. Like, I'm sitting here listening, like, okay, she about to break this whole thing down for us and give us all the answers.
Look, I was ready to go to my werewood. I was like, all right, I'm about to hear the history lesson real quick. So I know what I'm talking about. And right when it get juicy, the internet say, fuck y'all.
Well, look, I'm going to go through the notes real quick until she comes back. Because, I mean, no.
Yeah. Well, real quick, because she was she was making. Damn it! My thought's about to go. My thought. Wait. Come back. Okay, wait. Because she was saying something about how they would have had to go to Hornwood or something like that.
Yeah.
And remember, I was saying earlier that I think that if anything, you might have had them passing Rickon to certain houses to get him out of there. Because there's no way that a big ass wolf is going to be moving and no one sees him. However, I can see houses that maybe be in alliance with each other. Because remember, Hornwood is not going to really fuck with the Boltons like that, right? I can't remember shit. But I don't think they gonna fuck with because of that shit that Ramsey did, correct?
Right. Correct. I'm about to blow y'all shit anyway, because I'm about to prove to y'all that he didn't follow them. So y'all sitting here trying to figure out how they got there is useless, because we wasn't there. He was never there. He's lying.
You know what I realized what's happening is that B really wants us to talk about the lie. And now we're focusing on how the fuck he even got there. So let me get back on track, because I'm slipping. My bad. Come on, how the fuck you get there? Okay, back to the lie.
Right, yes.
Back to all right. Let me just read it out. Right. This is easier. So here's the story from Manderly, y'all. So listen carefully, because after I read through the passage, I'm gonna highlight what is completely wrong about this story. Manderly starts off and he tells him, well, Wex is an Ironborn. He was at Winterfell. We'll never know half the truth. But it was the bastard who murdered Sir Roderick and the men of Winterfell, which means that Wex would have had to tell him that. He slew Greyjoy's Ironmen as well. Wex would have had to tell him that. Wex saw men cut down trying to yield. When we asked how he escaped, he took a chunk of chalk and drew a tree with a face. Davos asked if that was the old gods that saved them. And he said, yeah, basically, after a fashion, he climbed the heart tree and hid himself amongst the leaves. And Bolton's men searched the godswood twice. I gotta turn the camera back on. Bolton's men searched the godswood twice, he said, and killed the men that they found there. But none thought to climb into the trees. Is that how it happened, Wex? So let's stop there, right? I just want to go back over those points. He came to us knowing yes and no, and we'll never know half the truth until he learns the rest of his letters. Those two. It was the bastard who killed Sir Roderick and the men of Winterfell. It was the bastard that slew Greyjoy's Ironmen. Wex climbed up a tree and waited there while the Bolton men searched the godswood twice and killed everyone that they found there. All right, moving on.
Real quick, just one little tidbit, real quick. In court, there's these things that lawyers do that judges frown upon, and it's called leading the witness.
Mm-hmm.
That sounded a little bit like what was going on there.
Did it?
I mean, because Manderly's just saying shit. Like, is that how it happened, Wex? That's what they did?
Say that again, AK. I didn't hear what you said.
There's a term in courts when a lawyer is basically trying to subtly coach whoever they're questioning to give the answer that the lawyer wants them to give. And it's called leading the witness. And that's what it seems like Manderly might have been doing there. I could be wrong. That's just how it felt in that moment.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead, B.
All right. Ain't that right, Wex? Okay. Now, that passage stands out for a couple reasons, right? One, Robert is saying that we'll never know half the truth about what happened, right, until Wex learns how to read and write. But we definitely read in a couple chapters before that the runaway girls from the Dreadfort, the ones that do survive, and all the small folk refugees from the Wintertown from that battle are all in White Harbor, remember? Additionally, even though Wex is supposedly illiterate, he doesn't speak another language, and he should be able to answer things other than yes or no. Remember, this is the same kid that was dicing in a tavern, beating everybody, and he helped Theon track Bran and Rickon. Remember that when they killed the Miller's boys? This kid isn't dumb. And then the last
real quick, BK, I think Monero's backstage again, please.
Okay, so if he helped track him, then he would be somewhat familiar with the area, or I don't know. But that's interesting.
he would be familiar with their feet. He's familiar with their footprints. He's familiar with all of their footprints, with all of their tracks now, because he tracked them down. Everybody that he's looking for now is the same people that he was looking for before. Remember that.
Interesting.
So do you think that he lied saying that he knew where they went, but more like he knows he can find them maybe?
No.
And that's why he trusts him? Oh, okay.
I think that he told Manderly the truth, and Manderly came up with the lie with the Ironborn's help, because the Ironborn and the North have an alliance. Now we could go through that because that's a whole nother thing that starts off with OSHA and Deepwood and Sybil Glover and a whole lot of other stuff. But for the purpose of this, it's a lie. And something also important to remember is that he is a Botley. He is Sargon Botley's only son. That makes him a Botley heir. Are you hearing me? He's the heir.
Which he's a highborn, so he would have been educated in all the things.
He's a Manderly hostage. He's a part of the Manderly household. You can look at it in the back of the book in the index. He is now a part of the Manderly household. He's a hostage. They switched hostages. They did a hostage swap.
Let's see if Beauty Queen, if her internet's working. Please, 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 please. Internet, please let her just be great, okay?
Yeah,
she has something to say.
Go ahead, you're still muted, Monero. There you go.
Sorry, having technical difficulties. Okay, so I'm just gonna go where I left off, and hopefully I'm not repeating too much.
No, go right ahead.
So what I was saying was, my thought process led me based on the conversation that was happening in White Harbor with all those players, is that they had to have cut somewhere across the whole Davos, that he had everybody on block, from White Harbor to Ramsgate to the White Knife, I believe he said. I can't remember all of the place. And remember, Lady Hornwood was his cousin, I believe. And he tried, if we go back to one of Brand's chapters, it mentions something about him trying to marry Lady Hornwood to keep Ramsay from trying to steal those lands from her. So he's very familiar with that area. So I don't think that OSHA would have been able to go north in order to be able to cut over in order for her to get to Skagos. She had to have gone somewhere near White Harbor or just above White Harbor. Without looking at the map, I don't remember if it's Ramsgate or somewhere near there. She would have had to have catch a boat in order to go to Skagos, which is near, not too far from White Harbor. So I'm trying to connect the dots between where OSHA would have gone, because there's nowhere she would have gone north that the Littles would not have seen her, or none of the northern clans, those northern clans would not have seen her, because they see everything. They don't say anything, but they observe everything. And because of all of the politics and all of the stuff that's going on with the Boltons, they're kind of staying low key. So my thing is, if he was following them, he probably would have followed them along that route that either cut somewhere near the Hornwoods or somewhere around there, that would have taken them to the shore for them to catch a boat to go to Skagos. The only other thing that I can think of is maybe OSHA was going one way but decided to double back and ended up being seen by people from White Harbor and she probably talked them into saying, hey, let us go to Skagos. He'll be safe there. Just give us passage. And then that is how they decided to create this story to tell Davos, even though, because why would all of a sudden he would just be able to pick out where they went if he didn't know ahead of time that's where they were going? Because you can't just say they were on a boat going to Skagos. You don't know where they were going. They could have been going to Bravos, for all you know, because Bravos is not that far from that area. Or they could have been going to Eastwatch to go to the Night's Watch, because that's where Jon is. You don't know that. So either there had to have been some knowledge on either Wex's part or Wyman's part, and they decided to create this story for Davos's sake, or it had already been prearranged that they were going to send Rickon to Skagos, and Davos just happened to be the perfect. He was just at the right place at the right time to be able to go and reclaim Rickon from Skagos. I mean, I don't know. Those are just, listen, I'm bad at theories. I don't do theories. Theories is not my thing. I'm just kind of just talking out loud of because I just could never understand how Wex would automatically know that these people went to Skagos. How would you know that? Especially, and how would they have gotten there? They couldn't have, the only way for them to have gotten there heading heading north, they would have either had to cross through the Dreadfort lands, and they would have gotten caught. There's no way you would have been able to miss them unless the mountain clans were hiding them. And the only other way to get to Skagos is either to go by Eastwatch if you're going north, or you would have had to cut somewhere through the Dreadfort lands, which wouldn't have been safe for them to do. So the only alternative route in my mind would have been for them to cut somewhere near the Hornwood lands.
I forgot about the mountain people. No, that's amazing. I forgot about the mountain people. Oh, you kind of blew my mind just a little bit. Oh, shit. I forgot about that. That's what I'm thinking of, see, I'm getting off topic because we really hear about the lie. But they was passing that little boy around. I really feel like they had to, because there's no way you ain't see this big ass direwolf. But I like that idea of maybe the clan, the mountain people. So, yeah, you're good at this, even though I know you hate doing theories. But that was actually interesting. But back to the lie, because that's what B really wants to talk about.
No, that's fine. We can talk about whatever y'all want. I'm tipsy enough. Yeah, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. But Vanessa has a dope question.
I believe there could be. That's what I'm saying. I think there is a lie. There is a lie being told. There is a story being fabricated. I just don't. I'm just trying to talking out loud, trying to figure out what that lie would be. Because I agree with you that Wex has an important role to play, right? Because he's needed to kind of sell the story. Because technically, he was at Winterfell when everything was going down, right? So he was at the right place at the right time. So he becomes credible. And if they're going to sell this story to Davos, they have to be credible. What part he plays in the whole scheme of things, I don't know. Because the whole Ironborn thing, there's just to me, there's a lot of pieces that play with the Ironborn, because you still have to contend with Euron, you have to contend with Aeron. Even though we got that Forsaken chapter, I still think that thing plays a big part. And then there's this whole thing about Theon still being alive and Asha still being around, and that whole story about Good Brother, how does about that precedent of good brother, does that play a part in Theon's role? Does Theon play a part in that? Because does he come back and be the new Theon, the new good brother that comes back, and because he has the legitimate right to the sea stone chair? I mean, there's a lot of Wex is definitely part of in cahoots. Maybe he might have lied to Wyman Manderly as a whole, and Wyman Manderly is just, piecing it together based on whatever information they might have gotten from Wex. Or maybe Wyman is the one that's feeding him what he needs, feeding him. Like, did you see this or did you see that? And how about this? And didn't this happen or didn't that happen? And he's still 12. He's still, you might still be able to manipulate him to answer how you want him to answer. I don't know.
By then. So he's a little bit older because some time has passed. But yeah, like we're way off. So do y'all just want to like talk about stuff?
No, we could go back on topic. That's really my fault for just getting too obsessed with how did he get to that island. But I'm curious, and maybe you two could help me out. Do you think do you think that it's either Manderly that's lying, or do you think that Wex lied to Manderly, or do you think Manderly lied and Wex told him the truth? That's one thing.
Manderly's lying to Davos because Davos is a proxy for Stannis, but Wex and Davos both know the truth.
Right.
Not Wex and Davos. Wex and Davos both know the truth.
Yeah.
They both know. Because the thing
that would make sense, right? That would make sense, right? Because they need a stooge. And Davos is a good stooge, right?
They need. I have no proof for the what y'all want to talk about. I have absolutely no proof for it, so I can just unload the tinfoil on that one. If y'all know, but what I do think is that it is.
Listen, B, you can't play us like that.
You see how she do this all the time. She lead you into that damn rabbit hole and then be like, oh, I don't know why we here. Because you brought us here. You literally took my hand and say, here, come into this fucking rabbit hole. And now we stuck.
And y'all was like, let's figure out where they went. I was like, let's get to the bottom of the line. Y'all was like, let's figure out where they went. So I'm trying to,
All right, okay, so go ahead and continue, B, so we can get back on the topic then.
Listen. So I'm just gonna skip all the notes. I hope you're not watching Radio Westeros. I wanted to be like you guys so bad. It's just such a failure. So check this out. They're lying, and the way that I can prove it is this way. Bran, Osha, Rickon, Hodor, Brant, Mira, and Summer, and Shaggy Dog were all in the crypt for 3 days. And we know that because in the book, it says that they were in Summer and Shaggy Dog watching Winterfell burn 3 days later and smolder out. So they were under there for 3 days while everything was happening up there. Everything happened on that first day. So that's 3 whole days that done passed. So if we look at what everybody actually sees, Wex does see Roderick killed from the battlements because he gives that information to Manderly. But when Bran comes out of the crypt, he sees all the Winterfell men or whatever, and he blames Theon. And Osha's like, no, flips over the Ironborn and realizes, okay, it's Bolton that must have done this because there's Ironborn dead too, and there's a couple dead Bolton men. So she's figuring that out. And from that point, that's when I said, okay, stuff is suspicious here. When you look at what Wyman Manderly told Davos, and you look at what Bran and crew saw when they came out 3 days later, they pass a burned man with no weapon. So that would be the same man that Wex said that he saw people killed, giving up arms, right? But what's most important about the lie to Manderly is all the stuff that they don't see. And what they do not see, the glaring detail in all of this, is that there is no bodies in the Godswood. Wex's story, Manderly's story, specifically says that Bolton's men went through the Godswood and killed everyone that they found there. But there was no one dead in the Godswood. The only person that was in the Godswood was Lewin, and he was alive when Bran and them came up out of the crypt. But he must have been dead when Wex saw him, right? Because Wex said that they killed everyone in the Godswood. In the event that Bolton's men actually did go into the Godswood, they wouldn't have left a survivor who could spread the tale. Not to mention, remember, Lewin got stabbed in the shoulder by the battlements. So he went all the way from the battlements to the Godswood and sat on a tree, y'all. Like, in the event that they went into the Godswood, they would have killed this man. So that's a lie. Wex could not have been there because he would not have seen a dead Lewin while he was in the tree for 3 days. Lewin would have been alive. And additionally, if nothing else, Wex, I think the other big bombshell is that Wex says that he hears 6 voices. But there's no way he could have heard 6 voices, because if you do the count, it's Bran and Rickon, Mira and Jojen, Hodor and Osha, and they're talking to Lewin. So that's 7 voices. If Wex was in the tree and at Winterfell, he would have seen Lewin stabbed. He would have realized that Lewin went into the Godswood, because you would have followed him there, apparently, right? You went into the tree that he supposedly was laying on. You were there. And he would have heard 7 people speaking because Lewin was alive and speaking. But instead, because Wex actually came back to Winterfell after everything was said and done and saw the tracks, he saw a dead Lewin, which led him to believe that he was killed in the Godswood when he wasn't. He was killed by the battlements. And 6 sets of tracks that he already knew because he tracked them before with Theon. That's where the lie unravels.
Oh, so okay. So when he said that he was in the tree, he was saying that he was in the tree that Lewin was under.
That exactly. And
well, how the hell is that? If they had direwolves, wouldn't the direwolves picked up on him if he was in the tree?
Yeah, that's what people have been asking for years. Wouldn't people have smelt him if he was if he was in that?
I was saying it in the sense of like if he was actually tracking them, and my dumb ass is putting quotes like y'all can see me, but I'm putting quotes that he's tracking them. That they would have peeped him tracking him, but like, yeah, there's no way that you would have been in that tree above them and the direwolves didn't peep you. So yeah, that's a lie. I do think that now
that 6 voices, there were 7, y'all. It was 7 people speaking. The only way you think it's 6 is if you showed up later and you counting tracks. You're like, okay, there's some girl tracks, there's some giant tracks, there's 2 kids tracks, and you're counting.
So it seems like that he lied and made up a thing, or one of the 2 lied and said that he was in the tree, even though he technically wasn't. Okay, now that you guys say it out loud, I'm gonna do Beauty Queen where I'm just gonna throw my thoughts out there. I'm just thinking out loud. So it sounds like I can possibly see that the boy Wex told Manderly the truth. But Manderly, so the boy told him that let's say that Wex followed their tracks, not them per se, because there's no way he could follow a direwolf.
You can't follow a direwolf.
You can't follow a direwolf closely behind.
No.
And then, so if anything, I could see him saying, like, making a guess that he went there and saying, okay, I followed the tracks and maybe the tracks ended at a certain area, because it doesn't make, so there's no way he could possibly, if based off of what y'all are saying, in the books, he was the one tracking the boys with Theon in like book 2, then Oh my God, I look crazy, just to let y'all know. Okay, so then that means that he could possibly have tracked them down, or at least to a certain location. And then once he got captured, I'm guessing, Manderly's to, I guess, put validity in it to say, look, he definitely went there and that he was at the tree. Because you can't technically prove that he was in the tree.
Let me
But
hit
he
you. Twin, why would he ever show up by himself? Why would a 12-year-old enemy of the state child go to the largest city in the north and be like, hey, I got something you want with no leverage? Why?
Well, it sounds like someone sent him there.
Or someone brought him there. Now, we can go through that probably in another video because we've already been on for an hour. You can catch up.
I need to get my research in, because now my spidey sense is tingling. I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Okay, now y'all see how look, it's been a rough day, because now it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, based off of this, it does seem like, okay, there's definitely people lying, but it seems more like Manderly's the one that lied.
Manderly is live, but remember, he has Wex in the room. This is Game of Thrones. That means that Wex is complicit in the lie.
Well, yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, definitely. But it could be a force. It could be a force thing, like he can't go against Manderly.
How would it be forced? You're now a part of his household. He is a Manderly hostage who is in complete and utter up to his knees in the Grand Northern Conspiracy. And I'm about to blow y'all mind. Like, I shouldn't even say, I'm going to give y'all some tinfoil. I know who killed Walder, or I know who killed Walder, and it wasn't Big Walder, like y'all.
All right, real quick, Monero has a question, because technology does not want her to be great tonight. She asks, would Hodor be considered as part of the Seven, because he doesn't really speak? So it's plausible that Wex might have only heard 6 voices.
Hodor says Hodor.
I was about to say, like, that's what he's known. He would have said Hodor.
It depends on the conversation, I suppose. So
Hodor whimpers and Hodor says Hodor 1. Additionally, he says that Bolton's men went through the Godswood 3 times and killed everyone that they found there. The only person dead in the Godswood is Lewin. The Godswood is not burnt. The old crumbling tower is not burnt. They stopped burning out the place, y'all. They didn't even burn the whole of Winterfell. The Godswood is unburnt. Ain't a tree in there, ain't a branch in there burnt, nothing. And there are no dead bodies. If they went in there 3 times, there would be dead people because they would have ran in there. No one ran in there except for Lewin. And he ran in there after he was already stabbed in the shoulder. They come out the crypt 3 days later, and that man is laying there by the water, still dying off. They did not come to Godswood to kill anybody. You are because you're coming there afterwards and seeing this man's dead body. He's a liar. It's a conspiracy.
Okay. I feel like we're gonna have to do a part 2.
More than likely, but I want to hear that tinfoil B was about to drop before the question, though. So please continue that.
Which foil? Because which foil?
You said somebody who actually killed
Walder.
No, Wex killed Walder.
I knew you was gonna say that. Why do you believe that?
Come on, man. The man that plays Dice from White Harbor and you don't know his name.
Right.
You don't know his name.
That's right, because his ass was in there gambling too.
And he's the best at White Harbor, and he's pissed at you because you betrayed Theon, and he is loyal to Theon.
Bruh.
There, and now he's like 15, and he's like, yeah, I'm about to show you something.
Do you know what?
You want to finger dance, little boy? You want some candy?
Oh shit! That makes total sense.
Wex is out here like lightweight part motherfucking James Bond going undercover, GoldenEye, 007 shit, and half a faceless man just floating through motherfuckers and blending in.
Well, that's the thing. You got to remember the whole inside, that whole Winter Wolf operation in Winterfell right now is a suicide mission, and everybody is having somebody that's like undercover. You got the whole freaking Wildling contingent in there that came in there courtesy of Wyman Manderly, even though he's
fucking 007 too.
They're all connected. It's a whole list. Like, we could go through the Grand Northern Conspiracy. We definitely should do a part 2. You're right, Nancy. Let's do that. I don't want to keep y'all up forever, but yeah, like, it gets deep. Y'all, he was lying. He was lying. Lying. Yay.
For any of y'all Preston Jacob fans out there, to quote Chad Summerchild, Manderly planned it all. And if you watch Westworld and Preston's Westworld videos, you get that reference.
Manderly, Roderick the Reader, and Stannis. The linchpins, Stannis and the Iron Bank. The linchpins to the Grand Northern, and I'm calling it the Grand Northern Ambition Theory because it's like GNC updated my version. The linchpins to that are the Iron Bank, Stannis, that Wildling contingent, and the rebellion in the north. Stannis knows a lot. Like, let's do part 2 and other whatnot.
I'm here for a part 2.
What's the purpose of the live, Vanessa? Well, I'm not going to keep us, here forever because we will be if I have to go.
Oh wait, no. Well, we did say we were going to get to her question. There were 2 questions that she had put in one thing, and so why would Wyman know that Rickon was alive, and what's the point of sending Davos away?
So he knows that Rickon is alive because obviously Wex told him, and we went through that, right? Like, Wex wasn't there, but he threw the track.
Yeah.
And as far as sending Davos away, he's not sending Davos away. He's trying to steal Rickon. Now, I haven't worked out yet who he's trying to steal Rickon from or why, but there's some division there. This man trying to steal Rickon.
Well, yeah, he's
like Wildlings, not the Wildlings. It looks like the clans and whatnot, and everybody else is like, yo, we are going to put Jon on the throne because that is what the decree said. Rob's will. That is what the decree sent to Old Town is. But for some reason, I'm just like, listen, I'm trying to have the North back intact, and I mean, I could take it or leave it, Jon or the little boy, but I need him to come. So
probably for insurance, really, to have him. Like, even though people are rallying behind Jon, it's like, no, because you probably have houses, are like, no, we don't trust the bastard. And at this point, we don't know what's going to happen with his part. Even though we've seen it in the show, but still, for book's sake, we don't technically know what Jon's going to be doing. So for all he knows, Jon is just another bastard at the wall. So he would be like, okay, I need to get, well, real quick, I would think that he would think it's a better option for Rickon because, one, he's a young kid, so it's easy to manipulate him. Two, he has Stark blood and he's legitimate because you know how they feel about bastards. And and three, he's damn it, what is the word I want to say? He is a opportunist. And we can already tell, yep. I think in the books he was like trying to mint coins and stuff and have their own gold. So I feel like he would be known as like the hero throughout the North if he got the Stark boy back and got the North back in, And I don't know if he has a daughter or a granddaughter or a niece or something he can marry off to that, to be married into the Stark family. But yeah, he's, because if you remember, I think he's been fighting with the Boltons since I think book 1. Because once Ned went down there, and then I think Ramsay started messing with Hornwood, they started fighting each other, right? Or am I making that up?
Well, they like,
huh?
I think they both occupied the land. I don't know if they ever actually came to blows, but they both occupied the land.
Yeah, so they were like beefing with each other since Ned left. So I don't know. He's opportunist, so it's like I do kind of look at him sideways to see what he's actually planning on doing. So yeah, we're probably going to do another stream on this because I know I went left. My bad, but
That's okay.
There's a link that I just put in the chat. I labeled it "Conspiracy of Wyman Manderly." It's by channel that went inactive a long time ago. But go look at that. He had some very, very interesting thoughts on what Wyman Manderly was actually doing and why, like Monero said, people underestimate him because he's Lord Too Fat to sit a horse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that
love
he's fat for no reason. He knows that, real big dude like him, he's not going to have to go to any war. No one's going to expect him to go, but they will expect his sons to go. And while they're big boys themselves, they're nowhere near as big as him. So he can still have the troops come and show up and have all the respect and never have to lift a fucking sword if you don't want to.
I love Wyman Manderly. I think he gets a bad rap. That man is really in there right now on a suicide mission, y'all. I don't know why he wants to steal Rickon back, but in my heart of hearts, I don't think it's for a bad reason. He's literally willing to kill himself for the North. He's doing it right now. He don't need to be in Winterfell. He can bow to Bolton. He got his son back, and he's rich. His lands are untouched. He's straight with the Iron Throne. Quite honestly, he does not.
They make a lot of money from White Harbor ports.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing wrong with being an opportunist. I'm just saying, yeah, he does show those signs like, look, I see something, I see a way to advance my family. I mean, but that's like a lot of houses in there. So I'm not necessarily saying it in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, he's made some moves where it's like, he does make risky but bold moves, especially like what I'm saying with the coins and stuff. But yeah, it would make sense if you want to make the North solid again, that you would get the Starks, like, because they say, what did that old dude say? Like, when the Starks were in control, everything was good or something.
When the Starks were in control, a maiden could walk down the King's Road in her birthday suit and not worry about being raped or anything.
Right. So, like I said, and he wants independence. He doesn't, he still wants that. So, yeah, I can see why you would Rick it. I mean, because, even though everyone is cool not everyone's cool. He's a bastard. You know how they treat bastards. But if you, like I said, if you get the boy, then I don't know if that would be like a symbol that the North to rally together or whatnot. But it just makes sense that it would be easier for him to get the child that's younger than to try to convince John, even though John's not stupid enough, but, John's considered a man now, and it would be harder to manipulate him. Not saying that it's a bad thing. I guess I'm thinking if I was in his position, I would be able to make better moves if I actually had Rickon. And then I'm also thinking I don't want my enemy to get Rickon. So maybe I'm in a race because there might be a possibility that someone else might potentially know where he's at.
Here's the thing with Wyman Manderly. Y'all got to remember, he's very loyal to the Starks, but Manderlys are a Southern house. This man has been playing the Game of Thrones for many a fucking years since before he got to the North.
No, he's been in the North. His family.
His family got, but I'm saying, and yeah, I did mix that up. But what I'm saying is they know how the South operates. So that you got to think has been passed down from generation to generation. And the Manderlys are opportunists, in my opinion, especially this Lord Manderly. And he is going for the goal. He's basically shooting his shot. He tried to do the thing with Robb. I'm pretty sure had Robb worked out, Manderly would have ended up in a greater position of power than he already was. So now that failed. So he's got a plan B. And that plan B has to do with Rickon and possibly any other resources that might come along, because like I said, he's an opportunist.
Yeah, Beauty Queen wrote in the chats that oaths were spoken in the Wolf's Den.
Oaths were, and that's what I'm saying. Like I'm telling y'all, I personally, Beauty Queen, I hope you basically saying that you feeling badly, you think he's loyal, because I do too.
Oh, definitely.
It's not about him being loyal. I'm just saying you can see that he's made like advanced. Like, I don't think he would fight the Boltons if he wasn't loyal to the Starks. I don't think that. So it's like, I get that he's loyal. I'm just saying he's the type of guy, he sees opportunity and he takes it. Like, he sees an opening. You want to be the first one to grab this boy so that you know he's safe from harm. That's being an opportunist. Like, let me go grab this kid before you get him, you know?
And that's
I'm not using it as a bad term. And I hope I'm not coming off like I'm using it as a bad term. I'm just saying that he's made moves where it's like, oh, okay, I see you trying to put your family on. But like I said, most families in this damn story try to put their family on. There's nothing wrong with trying to, advance your family at all. But it makes sense that he would try. And even if you take out the opportunist thing, it would make sense for him to try to hurry up and get Rickon to where he knows he's safe with him. Because the longer he's out there, he can be grabbed by anyone, and then he's a hostage. And then that turns the tables completely because you have a Stark child, just like how they have the fake Arya. And that's why people kind of were like not going too crazy because they thought that the Stark girl was there. So I think it would be the same thing with Rickon. As long as I have Rickon, I have ways. I have a better chance of making the North whole again or whatever. But the longer that Rickon's out there, the more chances someone else can grab him, and then who knows what will happen to the North.
What if I told you? I'm not even going to go there.
No, say it. Don't.
See, there's a little bit of feedback that comes through when you're unmuted.
Okay, well, just tell her. Tell me what she was about to say.
Go ahead, B.
That's tinfoil, and I shouldn't even be. But like, does no one really think it's weird that you brought Arya Stark to the Crofters village and nobody that's going to fight for the Ned's little girl wanted to see her? Does nobody think that's strange? No?
Very interesting.
Say it one more time. I was reading. My bad.
Does nobody thinks it's weird that the Arya Stark showed up at the Crofters village and nobody wanted to see the Ned's little girl?
To make sure that she was safe or whatever.
Arya, we have her. Victory.
You're right.
This is the whole point of this.
That's very interesting. I did not think about that until just now. That's the whole reason that they're supposed to be there. And they basically make up like half of Stannis' army right now as it stands. So why wouldn't they want to see her? Or is it possibly that they do, but Stannis is smart enough to say no and make up some random excuse? But then again, why would he feel the need to make an excuse if he also believed that that was Arya? So, yeah.
They knew that girl was there. They came for Theon several times throughout the night in that sample chapter. Several times throughout the night and the morning, they came. We was like, yo, dude with the moths was like, listen, these Northmen over here still talking about Theon. Yara straight had breakfast, Yara. Oh my God. Asha still straight had breakfast and then like lunch and then dinner. So it was like 8 hours that went by when I was counting it, or half a day or something like that went by. They knew that girl was there and nobody did anything. There was no huge celebration. There was nothing. So
that is very interesting.
We want to put that out there. That's tinfoil for another day though. So on. I have a question up because I don't want to say your name wrong. Do you know how to say your name?
Santavia.
Okay, so Santavia's question I thought was cool. So I put it up and it was about Wyman and y'all were saying he was opportunist. So I thought y'all would answer it. He won't kill the Trueborn Stark boys himself. So it's best to get them out the way until Jon is legitimized. What do you guys think about that?
I don't think Manderly would be looking for Jon to be legitimized.
I'll have to agree with what you said earlier. I think he doesn't care one way or the other if it's Jon or Rickon. But like I said, it would make more sense to get Rickon
Because Ricken's claim is stronger.
Like this, you already know John is at the walls, so he's already secure. You know, if you wanted to reach him, you could just go to the wall. But Rickon, I think that's the one where it's like, so let's say for instance, he's like, okay, I'm not gonna worry about Rickon because I have John. But then it's like, if someone was to get Rickon, then that would be a clash between the two. So it makes more sense that he would grab Rickon. And then it also goes back, if you are loyal to the Starks and you know that his child is wandering around, you're going to go for him anyway, right? So either way, I see that I don't see him like holding him till John's, legalized or anything like that. I just think that if it makes more sense to go for the trueborn one, because it will be easier for everyone to get on your side to solidify the North.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's it. I'm just saying, like, I don't think that he's trying to get like John out the way or wait for that.
Yeah, I don't think he would be looking for John to be legitimized, because as far as they all know, he's taken the black. That oath alone by itself holds weight in North, so he wouldn't be looking for John at all. Not at this stage. Not if he has a shot at getting Rickon. Rickon's claim is much stronger.
I'm about to blow y'all's mind.
Here we go.
Mind then. So in the first and second GNA videos, the first GNA video, we go through OTDA. Hey man. So we go through all of those little missing pieces. And what if I could prove that John is already legitimized and everybody knows about it?
Speak on, please.
Okay, then.
Are you talking about from the letter?
From the letter
that
was sent to Old Town. You got Catelyn Stark who signed it, who right now is terrorizing Freys in the Riverlands. You got Mage Mormont who signed it, who presumably is at Greywater Watch. And we know that Greywater Watch, those little people and whatnot, took back the towers at Moat Cailin. You got Galbert Glover, who was at Greywater Watch, and his brother is now with Lord Manderly, holding down an entire fighting force instead of going back to Deepwood Mine. You got Jason Mallister, who was captive at his own seat. Edmure Tully, who now is on the way to Casterly Rock. And you got the Great John, who's a captive at the Twins. They all signed that. Yeah, fuck Catelyn, like we had to say that's true. They all signed the declaration, right? Or this will, whatever you want to call it, that was sent off to Old Town. If you are someone who prescribes to the theory that will was not a will, but instead was a declaration that declared John as an heir, then it's entirely possible and feasible that information would have trickled down throughout the ranks. And the reason for that is because naming an heir is like a very normal and regular thing to do. People name heirs all the time. You name an heir. Rob had no sons, nothing. There was no way to keep his line continued, and he thought that his little brothers were dead. He had to do something politically to strengthen himself and the Kingdom of the North, and that thing was to name John as a start and as his heir. And so I think that everybody already knows that John is legitimized, and that would explain why the Mountain Clansmen showed up at the wall with the fighting contingent to like check on him and stuff like that, and a whole host of other things.
Okay, wait, hold on. I may have missed it because I was typing in the chat. I know the letter got out, and I think it's like Mage and the Great John that got away. How did you say they had spread the word to everyone?
How did I say who?
How does everyone know that John has already been legitimized?
It would have spread through the camp. This is not a secret. It's not a secret pact or anything like that. He literally had y'all come to the tent and was like, Lords, affix your seals to this document. Like, as in everybody who supports me, sign on this dotted line so I know that you support my claim. Just like Stannis would have people do for his daughter. Sign so I know. Just like we saw with the Realm's Delight, right? Come, make this pledge. Say that my daughter is going to be the whatever. I need y'all's buy-in so that I know that this is going to continue. So he got the North's buy-in by getting the largest houses in the North that were present at that time to sign. And he sent that away. And right after that, Red Wedding. So all of the information trickles through the camp, and they go to Grey Water, and everybody goes where they're going, right? And then they go to the Red Wedding, and all these people die. How long is How long is it going to take for this information to get back to the North? Let's think about it. So that's why I think they know he's legitimized, and I think that they're all working in concert to help put him on the throne. And that's in the GNA Part 1.
Yeah, y'all, please go check out the Grand Northern Conspiracy Theories that are on B's channel. She makes some very, very interesting points and always backs up her information with either like maps or pictures or excerpts from the book. So go check that out, and you'll get an even more in-depth, like a prequel to our conversation here tonight. You'll see how it all mixes in and ties together. And definitely check out that link that I posted earlier about Wyman Manderly. I think you'll like some of the things that are spun in that video there.
Also, this right here, I agree with so much.
Yes, absolutely.
Like,
there's a few houses that have daughters or granddaughters or nieces that would easily be able to be paired with Rickon.
That's what I was getting at. That, I thought he had like a granddaughter that he married off. So that's another reason why you would want to hurry up and grab him.
Yeah, I think the one granddaughter that he talks about when he gives the Northern Members speech, she is she's like punk rock Manderly to me, walking around with the hair dyed green and shit. I believe she has a little sister though, and that's who would be the match for Rickon. But Bear Island is also in that camp, and we know that Mage is also still hiding out somewhere, getting her 007 undercover on. And it could be very easy for Rickon to be paired with Lyra or Lyanna. There may be, I think, one or two others maybe that have daughters that would be of an age with Rickon, but those two would be the strongest.
I think that we've got some other ideas for those two.
Other ideas for which two?
For the two that are with her. The two younger ones that are with her in Grey Water Watch. We got some other ideas.
And that's another damn thing. I remember T had made a video, going about this question. Why did you leave the baby? Why is Lyanna the only one at Bear Island that's answering the damn letter from Stannis? First of all, we know that Mage was at the Red Wedding with Daisy and Alysain. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's Alysain and Mage that got away, and Daisy died, or am I misremembering that?
Mage didn't go to the Red Wedding. Mage went straight to the Grey Water.
That's right. She carried the message right after it was signed.
Right, and she went with those other two daughters, those two younger daughters.
See, why the hell were they there?
Because they're warriors too. Bear Island don't play no games.
I know that. I get why Mage, Daisy, and Alysain were in the mix, but why the two younger girls?
They were younger, but they're not that young. They're older than Lyanna, and Lyanna's 11.
Okay, well, taking into consideration their king in the North was crowned when he was like 14, 15. I guess that makes sense.
Old enough to go, and
squire,
basically. Yeah. They're squire age, basically.
You're right.
They're just female.
They some boxers, and Rob would absolutely allow them to do that. Which again, damn it, why the fuck did Ned ever not foster his damn children? It doesn't make sense. Arya wants to be a warrior, dude. You have a liege lady who is the head of one of your northern noble families. Send her ass to Bear Island. Why the fuck was she still on Winterfell?
It was Cat probably being a
fucking Catelyn. Obligatory fuck Catelyn Tully. Tully. If you watched the damn second season of Luke Cage, you'll understand the reference. It's Stokes, not Dillard's. It's fucking Catelyn Tully, not Stark.
To answer your question though, like why were the question that T used to be like, why would you leave the baby? And we used to be like, why would you leave the baby? Why leave the baby?
I forgot I even said that. But that sounds like some shit I say.
That is some shit you said. I'm telling you, I remembers all the tinfoil, man.
Well, the thing is, she didn't leave the baby, y'all. She left the baby with Alysanne Mormont. So the question would be, where the fuck did Alysanne Mormont go where Lyanna was able to answer letters on her own?
So the other lady left the baby. That ain't shit.
Everybody is fucking 007 in the North right now.
Huh?
I said everybody is playing their 007 gig in the North right now. We are on the Nintendo's, and I know y'all know the game. Nintendo 64, the GoldenEye 007 game, one of the best video games ever fucking made. Everybody, it's like you're in a multiplayer battle, but you're all on one team going against everybody else. That's what's happening. It's like the Battle Royale 007 right now.
Beauty Queen said Team Catelyn Stark.
Yeah, Monero. I know. It's some of y'all out there that still stand with Cat. See, I need Benji. Damn it, where the hell is Drinks and those things when I need him? I need Benji on here. Benji don't fuck with Cat.
Phil, you ain't
on, my guy?
I just want you to say, I just need you to know you ain't shit. I don't know why I fuck with him, but he's so funny.
And actually, speaking of the chat, let me go through and give some shout outs. Phil H just stepped in the spot.
Mr. Mormont himself, okay? He's the one that's in love with Jorah. He lets Jorah touch him, okay? I'm not trying to steal your man, okay? That's all you all day.
Damn, Jorah got corona. Shane. Right. Jorah got that corona, man. Don't catch that rona, man. Jorah, stop touching shit, please.
Stay inside. Don't catch them.
That's that stone herpes. But you know what? He loves his man and he gonna stick by him. It's been years, y'all. It's been years. So let him do him.
And my lady Sam is also in the chat. Mother of Blankets, Nancy T, keeping the realm warm one blanket at a time. Phil H, my guy, Vanessa Amnesty, Suntavia, my sis, Sam, my sis, what's going on? I believe I saw Dirty D, OTDA in here earlier. Chrissy of Old Stone swung by. Chrissy is the awesomest. I hope y'all know that. See, I believe Peter Griffin was in here earlier. And there might have been one other person I missed. I'm sorry. Oh, Bravosi. That's who it was. And if I missed you, I'm sorry. I can't scroll all the way back to the beginning with the comments, how YouTube has it set up. So shout yourself out in the comment section after we're done with the live and let us know what you thought about the stream. And please do encourage Professor Diligence here to do a part 2 and even part 3 of this discussion if it needs to go down, because we going in. So let's do this. Let's do it.
The GNA gets deep, and the GN, yeah, it gets deep. GN, I just forgot it's the wine, but it gets deep.
It's the wine. Getting your Cersei one over there. Speaking of Cersei, shit, Fandom D Saint. That's who else I forgot. Little brother was in the chat just now.
He's so sick. He's so sick to love her. He's so sick.
Who loves her?
Mother of all mothers, Monero. Go sit down. You know what, Monero? It's past. Why don't you go? You're a little delirious right now. I understand. Go ahead and go to sleep. No one's gonna hold it against you.
It's adorable that she's trolling. I love it. Keep going.
Team Petty. That's what it's not Team Catelyn. No, that is Team Petty. Beauty Queen.
She's the greatest mom ever.
Yeah, this is horrible. Catelyn is the mother of all mothers. I can't with you. Why are you doing this to us?
You know I love a good troll. That's hilarious.
No, you're the queen of trolls.
So I feel like we probably have to continue this. Because let me apologize because I know I got us off track a few times.
I mean, that's to be expected, though. That's just what we do.
technically it's your fault because you know me. And once you get to that part, you knew I was going to obsess. So technically, it's not my fault.
No. You ain't gonna skirt past that like that shit didn't just come out your mouth. Y'all see how T be doing us?
Yeah,
every time we get into this, it's our fault. If she go off into 10 different tangents in the way with that.
Was I not minding my business? Was I not minding my business? Then y'all say, hey, want to know something? I was like, sure. Like that, all you gotta do is say something curious, and I'm like, all right, let's hear it. Let's see what's going on. Like I forgot I leave babies. I literally forgot about that.
Santavia just said in the chat, Monero, are you okay? Do you need a snack? Yeah, Monero's having a Snickers commercial moment right now. Eat a Snickers, Monero, and then go to bed. You're not yourself right now.
She's making me so proud. Keep going. Catelyn, mother, like fuck mother of dragons, mother of all, Catelyn. I'm going to encourage all of this. All of this.
The petty is real, y'all. The petty is real.
And Sam, he does not like Sansa feel like Jorah, okay? That's who he likes. We can't take that away from him, okay?
This is like one of those old streams. This is great.
What you say, B?
This is one of the old. This is like one of the old streams. This is great. We're just sitting there laughing at each other.
Yep, it's what we do. We have a bunch of technical difficulties. We go through all of the random seriousness in our tinfoil, and then we laugh, and that's just how it should always be, in my opinion.
But I would love to talk more about like the whole Grand Northern conspiracy. So, I mean, like I said, just give me time so I could like do some research because, I'm already asking shit and I'm like, okay, why we do this and where we going with this? But like, you really just blew my mind about the whole Lil Walder thing because I can totally see him doing that. So, and I've never heard anyone else say that but you. So if I start hearing that shit elsewhere, I'm gonna be like, I know where you got that from. But I ain't gonna say I am gonna.
I'm gonna give a little bit of homework. Chat room. Go to Lady Dillinger's channel and watch those first 3 vids about the Grand Northern conspiracy. And while you're at it, I mean, you might as well just go ahead and check out all the other videos that are there too. Just saying.
I really think y'all will enjoy the Children of the Forest one. I think that one's my fave.
That was a good one.
But the dragon genetics was interesting too, because like she really got like into details, charts, grass. So I was like, oh, she went to the molecules. So I was like, oh.
What is that term they say in Ant-Man? She went subatomic.
Every time she's in
the microverse right now of tinfoil.
Nice.
I love it. We are here for it. That's what we're saying. We're here for it, man.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like we only scratched the surface of like what's going on in the North. So, if y'all in the chat, like come back once she posts up the video, like it and then put on a comment like, do you want us to continue going down what could possibly be happening in the North? Because we could take it to like, what the hell are they going to do with John? We could take it to what's going on with the women in the Mormonts, because baby girl has some info on the ladies of Bear Island. So that's something. Look, I'm just saying, she's not going to know unless you tell her, right? She's not Professor X. She can't read your mind. She's Professor D. Okay, she'll break it down.
Exactly.
She can't read your mind. So let us know, because I mean, I'll be down. Like I said, but you have to like give me a few days to like read. Otherwise, I'll be asking questions and derailing it to the stream.
Here's the next thing I want to talk about. I want to ask about, right? Because we're just posing out questions. So there's the next thing. So I'm going to give y'all a bit of, I guess, rabbit holery to have a good night with.
I hope y'all like this.
Would the Iron Bank loan the Night's Watch any money? They're broke. The Iron Bank called in loans from all over Westeros. Remember, Cersei didn't pay. So the merchant showed up to her like, yo, the Iron Bank is calling in all the loans in Westeros. What you gonna do? She was like, I don't know. I guess y'all gonna have to pay, Sip. Like, why on earth would they give money to the Night's Watch who has absolutely no way of paying them back? And they know that winter's coming.
I will, my tinfoil will slightly disagree with that. I think they absolutely would give the Night's Watch a loan because you know the Iron Bank, they're connected. I'm saying they're connected into everything, but most importantly, you know, to my readings, how I read between the lines, they're very connected to the House of Black and White. The House of Black and White knows very well how to read their dreams and potence and all of that extracurricular good stuff. You know, there's a reason Jack and Hagar is at the damn Citadel trying to find a very specific book that is in the restriction section that you can't get to without a specific key that he swindled off of someone whose space he stole at the Citadel. So if the House of Black and White knows that the Long Night is coming, and they know that there is a great enemy that they need to be prepared to fight if it comes to their doorstep, the Iron Bank also has that same information. Who's the first line of defense coming from the lands of always winter? The Night's Watch. It behooves them. No, men aren't going to be enough. Men aren't enough. From where
you're going to throw dollars at the you're going to throw dollars.
They are going to throw dollars at them because that will enable them to do the same thing that Stannis did. Buy some cell swords to come and help them. Or I mean, not even help, but at the very least to be some meat shields that will die before they do. And hopefully they can figure out a solution before the wall is breached. I don't think there's a doubt in anyone's mind that the wall will be breached, but there's certain things that these, you know, I'm going to say quote unquote magical institutions such as the House of Black and White and the Iron Bank would want to collaborate on to make sure that this thing goes down the way it, or at least slightly in favor of both of them. I can't remember who it was that said it in the damn conversation we were having. Shoot.
But there are no cell swords.
I will say that
there are no cell swords. That's the whole problem. When Stannis is like, all right, take all this money, go give me 20,000 swords or whatever. Moth Shield guy is like, and somebody else is like, well, dude, ain't nobody left. The gold company is under contract, and these people over here and those people over here, you want 20,000? Like, where am I even going to find those type of number of people? There are no.
Yeah. They're going to find them somewhere. You know, we know the names of a lot of the factions that are around there, like the Second Sons, Golden Company, and whatnot. I think people in Essos be rough, and if it comes to having to go kill some folks to make some coin, it's not going to be that hard. I mean, it's going to be a challenge. Not saying it'll be easy, but it's not going to be that terribly hard to find folks to fight for the right price. And now I remember what it was now. I believe it was one of the season 8 discussions that we had, and Monero and T were saying that, regardless of the stank attitude that Sansa and the North were giving Daenerys, Dany still could not ignore that problem, because even if she did, say, all right, fuck y'all, I'm out, and she went back to Westeros, if the Nice King would have gotten past Winterfell, which I expect him to do in the books if he does show up as a figurehead, then that problem is going to become hers at some point in time. And it's not going to stop there. Eventually, it will get to Essos and be on their doorstep. They're trying to curb that as much as they can before it gets to that point.
Then why? But okay, that all makes sense. But why make a loan? Why not just give it to them? The Night's Watch is not going to be able to pay that back. So
And
that's where
that's what I'm saying.
it makes sense. I get that you would want to send them some type of support. That makes total sense. Why do a loan though? It's like either you know something's up with John. They might know something's up with John. I don't know, but that does not make any sense. They like it makes sense that you want to throw support because this could be a danger that if I don't rectify it now, it's going to be at my doorstep. Completely agree with you. However, it does not make sense to give him a loan because they aren't going to be able to pay it back. With what?
It makes sense they're following the same prophecies that everyone else is spitting off about.
What would the Night's Watch be able? How would they be able to pay it back?
Why not just give them the money?
I'm not saying they would have to pay it back. It would go in the books, possibly looking like a loan, but that's not something they would recall back in. In my opinion, I don't know.
So then that wouldn't be considered a loan because if it's a loan, they want their shit back.
And if John becomes king, that they could very easily be the shifty back dealers that they are, and tack that into the realm's debt.
If he becomes king, so what? Does the Iron Bank know that he has the claim to the Iron Throne?
That's what B is getting at. Like there has to be a legit reason why they gave John a loan. Like it has to be something that they see or that they know. They were literally going at Cersei like, where my money at? Like, bitch, come up off my coins. And they know, and I think they not like see now I think I'm mixing up the show with the TV. In the show, I know that Stannis went there to try to get somebody, and they was like, I don't know if they did that in the books because I can't remember all of that. But they are about their coins, so it does not make sense.
No, listen, you're
I would loan someone. Exactly, that's the point. It's like, why would you give a loan and just it's like you're not expecting it back? That's not how they rock at all. Like throughout all of this stuff, they are about their money. Like the main thing they say is you can fuck with anyone, but don't fuck with the Iron Bank when it comes to their coins because they're going to come after you.
I understand that. So what's the first thing that I said? They're following the same prophecies and potents and dreams and whatnots that the House of Black and White is. They're making moves in public to make it look like they're doing the thing that they always do.
So you're saying that they're giving them money, but they're going to call it a loan, but it's not technically a loan?
Yes.
Then why
so John doesn't have to give money back?
For where the Night's Watch is concerned, no. But if they do want to do that, like I said, they would simply tack that onto whatever debt they're going to call in for the Iron Throne.
They can't.
Yeah, because they're separated from.
They cannot because they've started calling in loans. When you don't pay something, y'all go through we all go through 3 phases of debt collection. First they call, then they send letters, then they take you to court and write it off. Cersei had 3 debt collectors show up to King's Landing. The Iron Throne got written off, and they went to the north and loaned him money because he's a separate entity. You can't give money if you are recalling loans back. You can't. That's not how banks work. I'm not going to
how banks work
credit when you are in collections for you.
No, you're right. It's not how banks work. But this isn't just any ordinary bank.
It is, though. In every other way, the Iron Bank follows the rules of a corporate bank.
Like the biggest bank.
They also have those back alley deals, though, that they keep under wraps.
And they are all of those deals, and we see this in the books. They're still all documented. Remember, the locks, yes. The 3 locks, the 3 tiers.
It would all be documented.
They're still all documented, and they're still all locked down. There's still a process, just like a corporate bank. Our corporate banks have literally made deals with drug dealers and mobsters.
Yeah.
Google it. Like this, we do.
No, I know all that.
So you're not going to be able to give the Costa Nostra freaking line of credit when they owe you.
They would find. I think they would find a way to, I mean, not necessarily write it off, but to do it in a way that, you know, it's like everything when you're gambling on something. In the end, the house will always win.
But how is the house going to win if they're not going to get their money back?
They can't pay.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. It's like, if I see what you're saying, that they would want to throw some type of money so that they can have like all the stuff that they need to make to fight if case something happens to the wall, because they're going off of prophecies. I see that. It still does not make sense for them to put out a loan, because if you put out a loan, you're expecting it. And even if we say, oh, well, they just threw the loan thing out there so people wouldn't think they just give money, people going to be like, well, why would you give a loan to someone you know can't pay back? And then that might start something where they were like, well, you gave the nice watch on loan and they didn't have to pay it back, so why do I have to? It's like, to me, it doesn't make sense. Like, when you say loan, I'm expecting my money back. If I say, look, I'm just giving it to you to handle your business, that's one thing. But like I said, with a loan, and in the book, they were collecting, which means that they don't have enough money, or they're writing or they're gearing up to pay someone else.
That's what I was about to say. They're pulling in money from other old debts to put it into something else.
No, they're pulling in all debts because Cersei didn't pay for a year and a half, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Last time Cersei,
I think they was in book
alive. Cersei did not pay the Iron Bank since Robert was alive.
Yeah, book 2, because book 2, the Iron Bank dude came to Westeros and she let Littlefinger handle it. Big mistake on. Well, he was the coin dude, but still, she told him to handle it, and he just said, you know, we don't have no money anyway, because the Iron. I think they were like, I don't know how many million dragons they owed Tywin. They were broke because Littlefinger was swindling all this money. So there's no way that they could pay him back. So yeah, you go through that, and then Westeros is not stable. You're going through all-out war everywhere you go. So it, like I said, I get that you would just give money, but to say you're going to give them a loan means you're expecting something back, and they literally can't give you anything. They're independent. They're not supposed to be with anyone. They're just supposed to protect the wall. They're not supposed to get involved in anybody's politics. So it doesn't make sense that they're saying, okay, we're going to give this independent source money, but I'm gonna give you a loan, but not technically a loan. It's like you might as well just say, look, I'm just going to give you this for your support, and that's it. Because if you're saying a loan and then they don't have to pay you back, and if people find out about that, that's a domino effect right there. But once again, really the main thing is that based off the history and how they act, I don't understand why it would be a loan unless they know something that we don't know.
That's what I was saying, pretty much. And one, who's going to actually know, you know, that deep of their inspirations, and two, to tack on what Rhonda C just said in the chat. It's like maybe the House of Black and White are the underwriters. There's always been a connection with the House of Black and White, and
why though? Why? Like,
exactly, that's what I'm saying. There's something else going on there that we need to know about. There's a reason they would give them money. I don't know exactly what that reason's going to be, but I can only guess that one of it would be to get some more bodies on the wall, at the very least to give them a reprieve to do whatever, you know, random Obia voodoo that the House in Black and White might be trying to set up. Because again, why the fuck is this dude going to the Citadel to steal a magic book?
Well, I think he's trying to get that book on how to kill a dragon, but
see, and that's another story. Why would the House of Black and White try to stop Dany and her dragons? The House of Black and White is built from old slaves of Valyria. Dany is freeing all of the slaves. They should be her best friend.
But Dany's also there. I mean, you're saying this about I don't know, because also you gotta know Dany's messing up their money as well. As far as the Iron Bank.
True enough.
So once again, it goes to it's that big question. Like, it makes sense that they would give the the Men in Black. The Men in Black. What's going on with me? It's getting late, y'all.
I mean, they might as well be the ones for Men in Black.
The Night's Watch. It makes total sense that they would give them money. I just don't get the loan part, because when you say loan, I'm expecting it back. If that was the case, they should have just gave. It would be that they gave the money to them. Like, here's what because they're independent. They're not like some political party. There's nothing that they can give to them, and like I said, it has to be something else.
Like, why would
it's not just, oh, we're just going to give it because we want y'all to protect us. Because I think you were hearing stories about like wildlings, not White Walkers, but whites coming close to, like, there's stories going all around about that for a while. Because I think like the wildlings, they were moving for like 20 years because shit was going down. And the Iron Bank, they know everything. They might not act on everything, but they know everything that's going on.
They do. Absolutely.
So I just can't see them. It has to be something else about that loan. And I hope that like they get more into details, like what maybe John did with the loan. Like, how did he break that down? What did he say? It could be possibly that he gave them that, but there's like, you know what? You are technically a Stark. Maybe they thinking he might end up being, I don't know. I just don't see how you can do. Huh?
I think they know exactly who John is.
They know who John is because Black and White knows as well.
So
I'm sorry,
if that's then they gave John that loan because they think John's going to pay it back. Like, he's not going to stay at the wall.
See, I was trying to figure out a nugget, and then like we get off and like let everybody talk about it, and we come back for part 2.
Okay, we can do that.
All right, yeah. We did totally break off into like what could be 2 or 3 other streams. My bad. I got you the roots, lady.
Now I gotta like
this is what happens.
This is what he does every.
I was gonna say it. I was gonna listen, y'all. Wyman Manderly told the Iron Bank about John. Go back to the Davos chapter where Davos is in White Harbor. When he goes to that wine sink, he sees a Bravosi in there in dark colors. This man says that he's an oarsman. We know that rich Bravosi dress in dark colors. Poor Bravosi dressed in bright colors. If he was an oarsman, he would have been dressed in bright colors. He was dressed in dark colors. He was in there with Davos to collect information. And when Davos went out and looked at the docks, he saw what? One of those same ships that are described as the 3 that accompanied Tycho. Tycho Nestoras was inside of White Harbor when Davos first got there. And we all know that there's no reason for Tycho to be there, because if there's one person that does not need any money from anybody, it's Wyman Manderly. After that, he leaves and goes to the wall and basically writes John a blank check.
Here's my thought that just popped into my head on that, and I'll stop with the tinfoil because we have been on for honestly longer than I thought we were going to be on. But what if Wyman, and like I said, Wyman is an opportunist. I do believe he is very, very, very loyal to House Stark, and that will never change. But he's moving about things that will ingratiate him to, whoever the Stark in Winterfell is going to end up being. What if he's going after Rickon not because he wants to protect him to put him on the throne, but to use him as a hostage on leverage with John?
I think that he's going after Rickon because he wants to save Rickon from something, and he's trying to solidify, because that man's going to go die in Winterfell.
That too. I mean, I think it's both of those. It's like both of those mixed in. He is all loyal to House Stark, but again, he's going to use things to his advantage if he can.
Yeah, but there's no reason to set Rickon against John when there's a signed decree by the largest houses in the north and what used to be the king in the north, saying that this is who the heir is.
No, Judge, it's just to... If he has one of his granddaughters marry Rickon, then that puts him into a higher standing than he is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if it does boil down, I don't think he's looking for Jon necessarily to become king, but just in case, if that does happen, yo, I helped your little brother out. What you gonna do for me?
But also remember, they want the North to be independent.
Yeah, he wants to.
So even if like Jon, he knows about Jon or whatever, he still wants to, because the whole thing about the North even fighting is that they wanted their independence. They didn't want to deal with the South anymore. So even if he was on Jon's side or whatever, I think that he would. I'm not making sense, y'all. I'm tired. I just realized I'm not making sense.
No, you are making sense. We're just going off into tangents. But we're pretty much right now, we're House Harkonnen from Dune. We see plans within more tinfoil plans. And this could happen and that could happen. And it's a whole motherfucking multiverse because that's just what the fuck we do.
So this is what I want y'all see. This now y'all see how I feel when I just be minding my business and then B says, "Guess what? I got a theory," and then I start obsessing over it, and I'm like, "Well, you know what?" And then I'm talking about loans and shit. Like this is what happens. So I'm glad y'all get to see it. I told y'all I wasn't lying. She does this shit all the time. So now y'all get to live like how I live, and you get to see what I got to deal with.
And
but
now
we have to make another stream. But I feel like we keep saying that and then we keep talking about it more. And then
we're going to cut it off right here. I'm just saying now y'all know why I dub them the conspiracy theories. And that will be the end of our tinfoil talk for the evening with the conspiracy twins here. The lovely Lady T Baby and the beautiful and always Black Wildling.
AK's like the big sister that like tell us like, all right, y'all gotta shut up and go to bed now. Because otherwise we just be bouncing around talking about well, what about this? Well, what do you think about this? He couldn't have done that. Of course he could, because he went here. Ooh, that's the compensation, y'all.
All right, T Baby, sign off, man. Tell the folks good night and whatnots.
Good night, y'all. We'll be back again because I feel like we need to do another Grand Northern just random talk. I'm pretty sure B's going to have like some cool talking points. And then, of course, y'all know now I'm into the Expanse, so I'm trying to catch up on that shit. And I believe Beauty Queens, like maybe in the next 2 weeks or so, is going to have a stream about that. So I'm looking forward to that. And like I said, don't expect shit from me because I don't plan on giving you anything. But I love y'all.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I will sign off first. Y'all know where to find me. Y'all know I'm always in the chats, hanging out with all of the peoples around the good fandom realm that we have. You know, when everybody OTDA. You know, I should start calling, DA like Maester DA, because whenever some shit is popping off, my boy is out there sending out all of the ravens and calling the banners to the chat. So that's your name right now. That's your
name is Mr. Pillow Talk. No, his name was Pillow Talk. He will always be Pillow Talk.
Unless it's a ginger ale chat. Then he will always be forever be known as Dirty D. With the greatest pillow talk ever. In other circumstances, though, he will be the great raven that calls the banners. No, damn it, B, we're supposed to be signing off.
We are. But she put up this. I just wanted to share that.
No, go watch that video. She broke that shit down and she did a fantastic job. You will not keep me hostage on the stream any longer. Okay? But no, all jokes aside, she did an amazing job on that video. I think like if you go on her page, because I was just recently on that bitch, you go on her page, it's like probably the third video up in the front. You got baby girl eating a bat, I believe, and she breaks down and she had the theory about the bats on the flag. So yeah, I'm not being hostage anymore, but yeah, go check it out and then leave a comment about your thoughts on that. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So again, AK signing off. Thank you, all of our friends, for coming through. And I saw a couple new names in the chat, and I'm sure you guys have been watching, but don't always comment. We still appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. I believe it was Rhonda C and Zam that just stepped in. Appreciate y'all hanging with us and going through these tinfoil weirwoods with us. We trying to eat all of the Jojen paste. I'm sorry, that just is what it is. We drinking all of the shade of the evening. You want some weirwood? We got that sticky icky weirwood for your tinfoil pleasures, and that's just what we do. So, Lady D, please go on and sign us off.
So I just want to say thanks, guys, for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. Appreciate it. We'll be back. I don't know when, but we'll be back because we got a whole lot of Grand Northern ambitions, Grand Northern conspiracy to go through, like a whole bunch. If you guys enjoyed this stream, please leave a comment. Like T Baby said, let us know. We'll try to do this more often. And I'm gonna highlight this comment because I don't believe she said this. Like, I just can't with her.
Monero is the ultimate fucking troll of the fandom right now, man.
Beauty Queen is trying to take my heart, and she's winning it tonight. I love this trolling shit.
Look, all of the trolling petty. But also, speaking of Beauty Queen, though, I do believe this weekend coming up, she is going to be doing a discussion on season 1 of Altered Carbon, that Netflix show. If you haven't watched it, go fucking check that shit out. There's 2 seasons out right now, and it is the freaking shiznits. So definitely to her channel, and we're gonna have some fun. Enough for E. I don't believe I've seen your name before either. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. We're signing off. I'm sorry you're late. We've been here for like 2 hours already.
That's okay. This thing about to pop right back on YouTube. You can just hit that button as soon as it goes. You can see the chat. You can hear foolishness. Like it'll be just like you was there. You'll be like, why is she talking about this? This don't make no. It's all good. You'll have a fun time. Watch it. Just hit that replay, and then join us the next time. Okay. But hit that. What's that? That post notification.
Subscribe. And then hit the bell so you get all the notifications.
Yeah, and then join us next time, okay? Like Beauty Queen, her link I think probably be in the description box below. She got a stream I think Saturday, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So look, join us then. We're gonna have a ball that time,
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We back out here, man. Mad Queens running wild. That's what we do. But again, I'm sorry. B, go ahead, sign us off. No more comments, damn it.
We're running wild like the coronavirus out here. So check us out. We'll probably be on here in another few days going over things. So like it's been a great time. I've had a great time coming back. So I hope that the Mad Queens are able to join me later this week, next week, whatever, when we go through stuff, because it's gonna be a good time.
Yes, indeed.
Click the bell. Click the bell.
Yes, click the bell. Thanks for hanging with us, y'all. And fuck Catelyn Tully. Sign us off.